What's the worst thank you you've gotten after trying to save someone? My girlfriend had asked me to come with her to a protest downtown. She'd gotten threats online after posting about it and said she'd feel safer with me there. I'd been an EMT for 6 years at that point, and even off duty, my eyes scan crowds the way other people check their phones. It's not something you turn off. The crowd was thick, maybe 300 people on each side of the barricades. Then I noticed him, a middle-aged white guy on the other side of the barricade, maybe 40 feet from me. He wasn't walking, he was stumbling. His hand went to his chest, then his stomach. I watched him lean forward and vomit onto the pavement. Then his legs buckled and he dropped. My girlfriend grabbed my arm. Is that guy okay? My heart rate spiked. Every second he was down was brain cells dying. I was already moving towards him, pushing past the sea of people. I got about 5 steps before a hand slammed into my chest, sending me stumbling back. Black tactical gear was suddenly in my face. It was the riot police. The officer in the gear was young, maybe 25, with the kind of jaw that said he'd been waiting his whole life for a chance to have authority. Stay on your side, he said, not asked. You belong in the gutter with the rest of them. I kept my voice even. Sir, I'm a certified EMT. That man behind you just collapsed. He needs medical attention right now. The officer didn't even glance back at the collapsed man, didn't check, just stared at me like I was the problem. Behind him, I watched 2 guys from the other side notice the fallen man. They propped him up against a car like he was drunk at a tailgate, laughing about something. Then they walked away without a care in the world. The collapsed man's skin had gone gray. His chest wasn't moving right. I reached for my badge, slowly, held it up. This is my EMT certification. That man behind you could be dying. The officer snatched my badge from my hand and threw it off into the crowd. Back off, now, or I'll make you. Finally, I watched a woman on the other side bend down to check on the collapsed man. Her scream cut through everything. He's not breathing. Somebody help. I expected the officer to move, to call for help, to do something. Instead, he whistled twice. 3 more officers materialized, forming a wall in front of me. The collapsed man's lips had gone from pink to gray to blue. Suddenly on my side, phones were out everywhere, recording everything. For 1 second, I thought about walking away, letting it happen. He wasn't my problem, but I couldn't. My badge was still on the asphalt, and I was calculating how many minutes the stranger had left before his brain started shutting down. My girlfriend pushed through to my side, and beside her was a guy in a yellow vest, one of the protest organizers. I explained what was happening as quickly as I could. The organizer climbed onto a car hood and held up his bullhorn. Everyone, we have an injured person who needs our help. Form a circle around this area. Protect this space so the EMT right next to me can get through. You'd expect chaos. Instead, it was the calmest act of defiance I'd ever seen. 300 people linked arms and pushed forward, filling the gaps between officers. The lead officer looked at the crowd, then at all the phones recording him, then spoke into his radio. The officers stepped back, leaving the unconscious man slumped against that car. I was there in seconds. Checked his pulse. It was barely there. I checked his wrist and saw his medical alert bracelet. The guy's a diabetic. That explained the collapse, the vomiting, everything. His blood sugar had crashed, and without glucose, he had only a few more minutes before permanent brain damage. I found a glucose gel pack in his pocket, tore it open, and squeezed it under his tongue. I called 911 while watching his breathing and pulse. My girlfriend held my phone up to my ear while I worked. The organizer kept the crowd steady, forming a perfect barrier around us. The lead paramedic arrived 10 minutes later. He looked at the officers still standing nearby, then looked at me. You kept him alive, she said. We'll be having a conversation with them about what almost happened here. By the time they lifted the diabetic man onto the gurney, his color was coming back to his face. That's when his eyes opened. The diabetic man looked around, confused, saw the crowd, saw the protest signs, then saw me leaning over him. His face twisted into something ugly. Get your hands off me, he spat. Then came the slur, the one that tells you exactly what someone thinks of your entire existence. He tried to spit at me but missed, saliva landing on his own chest. The word hit me like a fist. I stepped back, nodded to the paramedics. He's stable. Blood sugar crashed. He'll need monitoring. They wheeled him away. My girlfriend put her hand on my shoulder. The organizer walked over, still holding his bullhorn. You did the right thing, he said. I watched the ambulance doors close on a man who would have died without me and hated me anyway. I know, I said, and I meant it.